We've got less than 100 days till election day, around like 3 months, and the mail-in ballots be available to be sent in very, very soon. So now is the time to start doing candidate profiles, and I'm gonna go ahead and bite off the biggest one of the bunch. Going to start it off strong by talking about the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Now, I know me just saying that has already raised emotions. You're extremely happy. That's your guy. You're extremely mad. He's the worst man on the planet. Or you're kind of in the middle where he's done a lot of things that I like. I don't like the rhetoric. I don't like the tweets. I don't like the division, but he's doing the stuff that I like. In order for this to be an exercise, doesn't just turn into, oh, you're a Trump hater, you're a Trump lover. I'm going to go ahead and pick out 3 things that I think he's done well, and a synopsis of how we got here, and also sprinkle in a little bit of the stuff that I'm not happy with. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this before we get into the whole shebang. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you who to not vote for. I'm just simply asking you to think. This is a thinking exercise. I want to hear your voice. I get to share my voice with you. Maybe I'll share something new. Maybe I won't. Maybe it's just something for us to add on to the conversation after this video. So let's go ahead and start with how we got here. For anyone who thought that this is a perfect utopia before the 2016 election and it was a fluke, you're fooling yourself. We got here because the American people have lost faith in our government. We have a do-nothing Senate. We have presidents who make promises and don't complete them. And we have a disconnect between the Oval Office and Congress where nothing gets done. This is why we are in the age of executive orders. Obama was full of executive orders. He called it the power of the pen. Now, if you're a Democrat, you love that. If you're an Obama lover, you love that. You wouldn't dare say anything wrong with it because he's giving you what you want. Now that goes to the whole issue of the separation of powers. And because we have a Congress not doing anything, and the Constitution says Congress supposed to pass laws, and we have president executive orders, but that's a whole nother conversation here. So here we are, 2016, and we have our election. It's already been, I call it rigged, because the Democrats and Republicans got together and they made it so there's only really 2 choices. And the 2 choices are terrible. And you got factories that are closing. You got people who aren't keeping up with the economy. Unemployment was relatively normal on paper, but there are a lot of people who didn't fit into the gap of being considered unemployed. This is where the problem was, because they were called the Forgotten Americans. And those Forgotten Americans were in Michigan, they were in Wisconsin, they were in Pennsylvania. The 3 states that swung the vote that gave us our first reality TV president, Donald J. Trump. Now, many remember that Barack Obama was our first rock star president, and now we have our first reality TV president, both put in by populism. Now, I understand you're going to argue with me. You're going to sit there and say, well, Donald Trump didn't win the popular vote. That's not what populism is. Populism is when you can sit there and feed somebody all this stuff that probably isn't going to happen, and they're going to root for you anyways, and they're going to use their emotions to put their guy in office. It's no longer the man or woman who's best for the job. It's the man or woman who can do the best for me. Now, he won because of abortion, he won because of immigration, and he won because he promised to bring the factories back. That's why the vote swung in those Midwestern states. So now that we got the background, let's go ahead and jump on our candidate profile. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about 3 positive things that he has done. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump into my personal grievances of why I have grievances against the current president of the United States of America. Now, the 3 things, I put them on paper to make sure I have my facts straight. Yes, facts still matter. Okay, the first one is recently he recently did an executive order to lower the price of prescription drugs. This has been all over Congress, usually from the left, that trying to get prescription drugs cheaper and also being able to go out of the country to get cheaper drugs. It should have been done in the first place, but Big Pharma has been all over this, and they haven't allowed this to happen. I'm going to go ahead and name drop here. Cory Booker. He's the one who stopped it from passing in Congress in the first place. So back to what I was saying about executive orders. If Congress can't get something done, president gets something done. Kudos to Trump for this. Number 2, Trump led the way with the First Step Act. Yes, Trump led the way in a bill passed Congress. Fortunately for us citizens, this bill helped our prison system. Yes, our corporate prison system. It was a reducing recidivism and refining sentencing laws and harsh penalties. So this goes straight to the drug war, where it helps people have less jail time for drug offenses. And also it goes into the core of what was wrong with our prison system, with people being there, wasting their life away, getting people out. And you also got a few pardons out of it. Executive order combating human trafficking and online exploitation in the United States. Now, you guys know we have a huge human trafficking, sex trafficking problem happening in the United States of America. It's a big money business. What Trump did is put more teeth for enforcement so that we can do something about the issue. Those are my 3. Now, for the rest of this, I can go on for an hour with all of my grievances. We can talk about the border wall, taking money away from the military for the border wall. We can talk about kids in cages. We can talk about Charlottesville. We can talk about ramping up racial tensions. Infrastructure spending. We got crumbling bridges. We got dangerous parts, places to drive through, and roads that are caving in. And the other problem I have is what's happening with our LGBTQ brothers and sisters, trying to roll back their rights. Supreme Court stood up and stopped it. And let's not forget about the show that has been COVID. You know, I really wanted to put something else in front of the show. And this is going to be Trump's death knell. Unless the skies open up and everything goes away, he is going to have to deal with calling this a hoax in the first place, not doing what needs to be done, the quick turnaround and looking presidential, and then slipping right back to his tweets. You guys know all of this. I also make sure that I'm fair and I cover all my bases and that we have an even conversation here. Now, for many people, none of that matters. Nothing matters. He's doing what you want. For abortion, they put up as conservative judges, and he's answering all those grievances for the forgotten Americans, and social issues rule the day. That's what you want. That's great. For me, when I'm looking at anybody on the right, I really want them to be a conservative. Conservative means the budget. Balance the budget, pass a bill, bring it down. There's been no leadership on this. It's all we do is spend, and we build up the war machine. We build more war weapons. We put money into the military when we have no threats to us. Because it hasn't been conservative for a while. We need to go ahead and admit this, and we need to go ahead and just come out and say it. If that's not a big deal to you, that's fine. It's a big deal to me. That's why I lean libertarian. And then we also go into the idea of liberty. Liberty doesn't just mean that you run around talking about your gun rights when it's convenient for you. It means that you stand up for your principles. So when a president sends feds into cities for law and order, this is everything that conservatives should be against. They should stand up, say this is wrong. There's nothing wrong with saying that certain things are wrong or you have buyer's remorse for your vote. It's simply standing up for your principles. That's all I ask for. Our nation is divided more than ever, and all of us are just feeding into it. We don't talk about the issues. And when we talk about presidential candidates, it starts out with, I hate him or I love him. We need to break down the issues of why you support the man or woman that you're supporting. Because when we just do it off our emotions, all it's going to do is a fight. When someone comes out and says, hey, I don't like what he did, the response isn't, oh, you're a Hillary lover or you're a Biden lover. It should be like, okay, let's talk it out. This is where we need to be. My name is Kyle Finding King. Thank you for watching my Jeep Chat.